Hello, it's SolarPV TV, and we are here with Mr. Heinz Kundert, President, and Mr. Stefan Reitel, Senior Manager Operations at SEMI-PV Group Europe. SEMI-PV Group is a global trade association for the solar energy manufacturing and supply chain. Could you tell us what's the relation between SEMI and PV Group?
The PV Group actually is a division of SEMI. Up to now, SEMI was mainly the association for semiconductors and semiconductor-related technologies such as displays, MEMS, and of course in the wider range nanoelectronics. And because we do have a lot of members now diversifying into the PV application, because there's the same technology being used, a similar technology being used, we have formed a new division that is called PV Group.
What differentiates SEMI from the other organizations?
You know, most of the associations are kind of lobby-related or public policy-related, not only, but mainly. I think what SEMI differentiates from others is that we are really working with the industry. We are industrial people. We are coming from the fabs. We are coming from the shop floors where we have gained experience. Myself, I was 23 years in semiconductors and PV manufacturing, in the equipment manufacturing. So we know the problems in these companies. And of course, we cannot solve the problems of an individual company, but what we can do is to help solving problems collectively. Give you just one example. Having standards have very much helped to bring costs down in the semiconductor industry, and we are now in a similar position in the PV. As everybody knows, the major issue is costs, be that on the equipment itself, on the materials, or on the efficiency. And we believe that we can contribute collectively to find solutions to these issues. One of the best materials in our history is silicon. Silicon is diverse. You can use that for many applications. You can improve it by coating, by doping. There are many ways to use silicon, and photovoltaic to 80% today, we can say, is based on silicon, and it's just the beginning. So again, the semiconductor people, they know how to treat silicon, and in the PV to 80% there's also silicon.
Is PV Group targeting only on equipment manufacturers and material suppliers, or it's also opened to the companies from the whole value chain?
Yes, so as you said, traditionally SEMI was the association for equipment and material suppliers, actually for almost 40 years. However, the things are changing, and over the last years, the entire food chain became more and more important for an association, not only for SEMI, but also for others. And that's why we have decided already time ago to open the association also to, let's say, in terms of PV, to cell manufacturers and material manufacturers and even service providers, as long as they have to do with photovoltaics. So that's indeed a new approach, very successfully.
Is the organization or industry driving the activities of PV Group? And could you tell us a little bit more about PV Group task forces and their achievements?
Yes, so as I said, this is pretty new. New means for the last 2 years we opened the association to the food chain, to the entire food chain. So if you ask me for achievements take quite a long time, but we have achievements, of course. One approach is, and I mentioned that before, is standards. So we have several tens of task forces around the world to create standards, and this is a long process. It takes sometimes up to 2 years to get the standard approved through all these various committees. And we have already more than 10 standards in photovoltaics, and we have a lot of initiatives at the moment ongoing to have more standards, more significant standards, in order to bring the costs down and to help the industry reduce the complexity.
PV Group established a partnership with Intersolar, the biggest worldwide solar fairs. What was the reason and how does this partnership work?
Thank you very much. The reason is pretty simple. When talking the last years to our members and other stakeholders, we realized that the amount of PV shows worldwide is just too high. Therefore, we just stepped back and transferred the PV part of our Semicon Europa to Intersolar, as we realized, as well as you said, it's the worldwide biggest solar show. And the relationship is going very, very well. 3 years ago, there was a percentage, a small percentage, let's say 20, 25 companies from the PV production and equipment. Last year, we increased already to 120 companies from 1 year to another. And we expect to round about double that amount again for next year. So not only the Intersolar is the most growing show worldwide, I believe also the segment we are responsible for is growing very much, and I guess that's already the best message, that the industry is really seeing Intersolar as an important show.
In US, PV Group was very active in lobbying activities for solar energy. And what about Europe?
As you know, Europe, of course, is leading in photovoltaic, in technology, in production. And this is also due to public policy that has started actually already in the 90s. So the feed-in tariff in Europe is not new. So the first approach was made, I think it was in 91, and then continuously developed. And they are, of course, established associations. One is EPIA, that has been doing a good work in that way. There are also national initiatives that helped very much to develop the public policy, and it has been very successful, as we all know. However, in other regions, they are, I cannot say far behind, but they're not as advanced as Europe. And there is also, they do not have associations like APIA that have been growing for a couple of years. So in those regions, we indeed do much more intensive lobbying as in Europe. In Europe, we have a cooperation with APIA, and we support APIA in public policy.
Recently, you have opened an office in Berlin. What's the added value to your members?
The world of associations is changing. I mean, the whole industry is changing, so also associations have to change. As you know, in Brussels, there is, of course, the European Union, and we maintain very good relations to the European Union, so we will keep an office here in Brussels. On the other side, we have to be closer to the customer, because the customer is demanding more services and faster services from SEMI. So we decided to move the majority of our operations and sales and marketing activities from Brussels to Berlin, to be closer to the center of competences in PV, which is located in Berlin, in Brandenburg, in Dresden, in Leipzig, Halle, Freiberg, and so forth. So we are you can say that the office is in the range of approximately 120 miles, where we have access to 80% of the cell manufacturers in Europe.
Thank you very much for the interview.